Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next installment of Friday Night Spiritual Insights with Michael Mirdad. This is a live presentation we do every Friday at 5:30 Arizona time, and always remember to check Arizona time. A lot of folks had been asking for me to talk about, just upcoming configurations, conjunctions, planetary things. I almost never do that because there's so many wonderful astrologers and other, just individuals talking about the next full moon, the blood moon, and the alignment, this and that. And I don't want anybody to ever get the impression that I predict things based on astrology, because then that'll make you think, because I don't. And that might make people think, oh, well, he's another astrologer and they're usually fairly accurate. No, when I share these things, they just come from spirit to me and I go with it, honest to God. So I'm going to share a little bit on this because you guys have asked, so respectfully, I'll do that. And I'll still try to keep it very relevant, very, very relevant, not only to this alignment, but, to us on a daily basis, and also into the next year, 2021, a little bit there perhaps. So I'll start with this. First of all, one of the things I sense or hear coming up is that we have kind of a Saturn Jupiter coming together around the 21st, December 21st. I don't know why, but the people that are talking about it, and I don't really watch things online much and so forth, but the people that I hear the buzz around the Sacred Center, Unity of Sedona, where I teach, or, people are mentioning things about it, but I don't hear a lot of mention that not only is it two very strong planets, but this is happening around the solstice or Christmas time, but around the solstice. So it really tells us that the sun is arising, as Tommy James and the Shondells said. The sun is arising, most definitely. Song Crystal Blue Persuasion. So the sun is rising according to pagan, Celtic, and so on traditions. The sun is rising on the solstice, and it's like it's got two midwives, Saturn and Jupiter, acting as midwives. Here comes the sun through this gateway. And I don't know why more people aren't, maybe they are talking about it. I just haven't caught wind of it. Or if you're one of those astrologers or people, maybe add this to a little of your dialogues around this. Saturn, Jupiter, major midwives. And there's other planets doing other things. I'm just mentioning these two planets because, they come together and enter, every 20 years or so. But for the last 200 years, they were coming together in an earthy sign, which is to say that they were really kind of giving a couple years of getting people into materialism, grounded. But the thing is, these two planets are like magnets trying to force together, and they're pushing each other. There's like a repulsion, in a sense. It's so diametrically opposed. Oh my God. One is, expansion, seen as God, Jupiter, which is like, in some languages, the word Jupiter comes from Jupitar or Zeus Pitar, Dios Pitar, which is God, the Pitar Father. So Jupiter is like God, Saturn, Satan, Set, is like the devil. So these are conflicting, and they were coming together in times of world wars. I mean, my God, on the eve, ending of Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War I, World War II, these kinds of things, Korean War, Vietnam War, Middle Eastern War, a lot of conflict on an earthy material basis. The Depression, several pandemics in that period of time. So it's pretty intense. But now they're going into Aquarius. I think it's Aquarius, but an air sign now for 200 years. And obviously we're all moving into Aquarius. But, I just kind of tune into a meditation of this downloads. So I could have a number off by here, or I might even say something dyslexic in a way, because I just start rolling and, I can get tongue tied somewhere. But it all just comes to me this way. If there's something that's conflicted or not making sense, it could be that I'm just, missing a beat somewhere. But it's to me, it's all just interesting. We're going into Aquarius. These planets are going into Aquarius for a couple of years, 100 years. See, I almost said couple of years, couple 100 years, and that magnetic repulsion. They're not drawing each other. They're two magnets you're trying to force together, and they're pushing each other apart. So very interesting. I think there'll be a certain amount of conflict there. Jupiter, for example, represents expansion, going, travel. And Saturn is like, actually, which rules, you have Capricorn in this picture. So even Capricorn, it's like restricts travel. I want to go. No, I can't. And so right now, we're already seeing this conflict of these two saying, no, travel constrictions. As much as you might want to go, there's travel constrictions. So things like that are going to be a little bit interesting, a little bit conflicted. But because this is going into Aquarius with us, this conflict, and there'll be a great deal, I think, this conflict is going to be sort of inhibiting ideas and inspirations. We should be able now to go into Aquarius going, whoa, I know new things. And yet Saturn's going to try to say, no, you don't, no, you don't, no, you don't. The way that'll manifest in people is, why is it that all of my dreams keep getting shut down? Well, we're not victims. So as we work, heal, grow, we will become the masters over that story of what the planets are doing. But there will be a bit of that here and there. It's a natural thing that it's going to do its best to try to get in our way. And as people move into the Aquarian age, it's interesting because a lot of New Age people talk about, oh man, this is an age of us coming out and as individuals. I'm going to say they're all wrong. This is actually an age of coming together. One of the key words for Aquarius is brotherhood, sisterhood, oneness, humanitarianism. It's not about individuating. And I know, some people want to believe that, but that's just more ego saying, I want to come out. That's just a little tantrum of the ego. I'm sorry, you're still allowed to do your personal thing, but the message for us is coming together. The message for you might be come out. Good for you. The message for us is coming together. And here's that Saturn, Capricorn, as well as some other planets and signs, Mars sometimes, but trying to create conflict, saying, no, you can't expand, you can't come out. People get in, don't have sacred services, church services, yoga gatherings. No. Wow, it's just getting intense. But those are those two energies just being in conflict again. And because it's related to Aquarius, we're going to take a hit in the area of gathering or groups or even communication, even though, of course, Mercury is strong communication, Gemini communication. Still, communication is going to be affected for reasons on a higher dimensional reasonings behind it that I won't get into. But it'll affect groups and social groups. And one thing I can say is, for example, in the current situation with politics, if the current president were to give way to the president-elect, there'll be a gradual, some of you are going to be like, wow, that would just, oh my God, that would be like, bliss. But there'll also be some gradual exposure of corruptions that you guys nobody even knew about. That I'm not talking about the stars. I guess it could be related to some of the things we just talked about. I just see that coming. If the president gives way to president-elect. On the other hand, if the president keeps fighting for an election to win, and if somehow courts overturn things and give him his way, if that were to happen. I've said this for weeks already. So it's not like I'm telling you, repeating the news or something, which I don't watch. But if that were to happen, if he were to somehow remain in power or fight things too much, that's where things will blow up majorly, which would be consistent with, this alignment coming up. Please remember, though, there is an exception. The larger planets like Jupiter, Saturn, the larger planets, their influence takes a little while. We can call it the rays, the vibes, the energy coming from them to the Earth plane, i.e., and also us, is gradual coming in and gradual fading out. I don't know if all astrologers would agree with that. I just know that to be true as I understand it. The faster moving planets bring pop, 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 faster information, like Mercury, which controls communication. And again, I don't, it's not things I study. I can just see it as I'm talking to you. So, faster moving planets, even the moon, closer to the Earth especially, they're going to have faster influences, more immediate. But those people that sit around going, oh, there's an alignment on the 21st, everything's going to happen at exactly such and such a time, that's exciting for people to, wow, this is happening at this time. But rays and influences and vibes from planets and stars don't work like that. They're sending a steady stream. By the time it hits you, for example, like a sun flare can affect us today. The flare didn't happen 10 seconds ago. It takes time for the flare that happened whenever to hit us today. It's the same, very, very similar to planetary rays. So keep that in mind. And there is an exception, the faster moving planets. Now, and these two planets, when you look up in the sky, Saturn, Jupiter, they do get close every so many years, but they're going to be, I think, like maybe down to 1/3 the distance they usually are. So if this was the usual distance they are, it might now be just this far away width-wise. They're going to be closer. Wow, that means you could see them in the sky, get photographs, whatever, perhaps. But what it means in context of my talk here is that the magnetic pressure between the two. Now, it's not planets causing something for us. It's telling us about our own inner selves. So when I hear these two planets are going to, they're going to go from here, now they're going to be here pressuring even more. I go, that's the pressure cooker in you and me. So I'd like to work some of that out. I'd like to work out that shadow self, the Saturn self, Satan self, I'd like to work on that. I'd like to clear that. Look at it as a mirror and a reference point on where you might want to do some work yourself. And it's not about Jupiter's right, Saturn's wrong, good versus bad. It's about my conflict inside. And what do I want to do with that conflict? Now, whatever I do, here's that doorway. And those two are going to be this close. And the rays of Arcturus and other more important star systems, stars that affect this planet, the rays that are trying to come in with the solstice have to fit between that little gap, and it's pressed in and packed down. So I need to be really walking a very clear line about who I am and what I want in my life, so that I can just slip right on through to that new life. This is interesting. I just realized, because that's a very Capricorn kind of symbolism as well, that there's a gateway in the mythology surrounding Capricorn, but there's a gateway that we go through that shows that we're passing an initiation that Capricorn symbolizes to us, like the 12 labors of Hercules, for example, 12 signs of the zodiac. that the hero goes through to become a master or a god goddess. So what I'm seeing as I'm talking about this is that there's that, wow, we've got to really be towing the line to get through. If you don't, you'll get closer, and these two conflicting energies are going to beat the hell out of you. What's worse is whatever you bring through the gateway, whatever you bring through, attract in that moment, whatever your consciousness, around the 21st, give or take some days, is going to be, and what we collectively do is going to be very influential in the coming year and years to a degree, but the coming year. So what decisions we make now, November, especially November, December, is going to influence next year. And I would say maybe 4 times more than usual. Okay. Certainly several times more than usual. So really watch your P's and Q's, as we say sometimes. It just means, watch what you're doing inside and out, your thoughts, your words, your deeds. 2021, a lot of people go, well, we went through a lot in 2020, so it's going to really probably be opened up. No, it has potential for opening. I would agree. The biggest thing to be aware of is not, okay, here's how this works. The biggest thing to be aware of is how excited you get about going into a new year. Now, you should and could be excited about it. You could say, God and I are going to co-create a new year, a wonderful year for ourselves. Good job. Okay, but the big deal to watch for in 2021 is not whether things go your way or not. It's how you react when they don't, if they don't go the way you want. So that would include even the presidential thing I said. If they don't go the way some people want, there's going to be a lot of upheaval because of ego and tantrums, control, fear, anger, hate, etc. So a lot of people are going to think, wow, new year, I want to be able to go. Once again, I want the expansiveness. I want to go expand. I want everything to do better. And in some ways, yes, things will improve. I can see that or feel that coming. And those of you who know me, you would know that I'm pretty accurate about this stuff. I don't get 50-50. I don't get 60-40. I don't even get 70-30. I'm typically correct on the things I describe. Even if somebody said, as far as they know, it's 100%, I would still say 90, just so I allow that, human error or whatever. But I feel really accurate, whether it's 80 or whatever it is. I feel really accurate. And so I feel confident in saying that, there's some good promise of some good things. And when we get to the end of the year, maybe I'll do some predictions specifically for next year. It's what I did for this year, last year. Okay. Back in 2019, I predicted everything that was going to happen in 2020, and it was true. So the way I'm going to word this is, heaven help those who try to interfere with people's hope of a new year, a better year. It's not about whether it would be a better year or not. I'm saying heaven help those who try to inhibit that from coming, because there are going to be some people that are so upset about 2020 that they don't just want 2021 to be better. They need it to be better. They're so anxious and upset inside, they need it to be. So if you don't comply with their need to have a better year, they're going to blame you for their not having a better year. So whether you're an employee, an employer, a partner, you might be taking the brunt of a lot of things. Okay, so be the wiser, be careful, and be responsible, and insist that other people around you be responsible for whatever's happening in the world, because it's easy to get agitated. Oh, I went to the store to buy milk and there's no milk available, and they said it'll be 6 weeks before anymore. Those things can make people agitated. So be careful, because that pressure cooker, that tension level, you might see that increase. And let me just see if there's anything else I wanted to share on that. Okay. What I see my role as being, um, despite whatever may happen in the world, me and my own friends and students, I can see us, this is kind of stating the obvious, but we're going to ramp things up towards greater Christ consciousness. Um, Off the top of my head, I would say this without giving details. I already said in 2019, 2020 is going to be a very challenging year with death and disease and things like that, and financial issues. 2021, if people are going to make it a decent year, someone has to bring in a greater level of Christ consciousness. It won't just happen on its own, the positive change for the better. We're going to need to anchor in some light. And one reason we need to do that is probably 2022 will be another wave going back towards challenge. And then 2023 will be very explosively positive in a sense. All that's just very generic statement there for those years, just to make a little point of this wave we're going to go through right now. But mind yourselves, take good care, make some changes. If things bounce back in a way that you like in 2021, use time wisely. No, don't even bother settling for jobs you don't like anymore. Now, when I say, I'm sorry, let me contradict myself slightly. You might need to settle for a job to make funds to be able to do something better. When I say settle, don't settle, I'm talking about long term. You might need to lock something in for a short while just to get some money set aside for whatever you think is important. But I would say this coming year, grab hold of what you think is important. Christ consciousness, all the way down to having a power generator that runs when the powers go out, now and then. Stop living in places that get beat up, with tornadoes or tsunamis or whatever, hurricanes. Stop living dramatics like that. Oh, I wonder when that season's coming. Oh, we better watch out. Try and move away internally and externally. Try to move away from, oh God, what's next? That whole mindset, standard of living. Because if you continue with that, what's next? We had better prepare. Then you will get what you ask for, and a lot will come progressively through the years from here on. So it's really important that we go, you know what? I think I'm going to go the way of love, the way of peace, the way of happiness. I think I'm going to, we all say we want that, but we allow this conflict to happen, which the planets are now going to illustrate to us. And so one of the things we got to do is really refine. That's a word I'm coming up feeling, refine and walk a straight line. I can see it in myself in some ways. I can see it in some areas, some relations, some people related to my work and that, help with work, and long distance people that help anchor. It's like, anchor our program here and there. I can see where I'm going to say, no, you know what? You might be doing this over here. That's not okay anymore. Now we need to go through this doorway. Here's the funnel is tightening, and we're going to have to all refine how we do things. So it might seem like an inconvenience or a little awkward. I don't want to be controlled, but we're all walking through a narrow gateway that will feel a little oppressive. And if we can really do well and do this consciously, November, December, we're now in December, but I'm saying November was a big part of this. If we can do this right, this gateway, my God, it's the solstice. So all of a sudden, here comes this wide energy into a funnel, funneling through, and then all of a sudden, poof, it'll expand potentially next year into a very beautiful way, wave of consciousness. So a lot of you keep asking me also to talk about a new wave of light that's coming into the world. This is a tad of that, but that really needs its own talk for a while, half hour or whatever. So I won't be able to cover that now, but do know there's this steady wave that's coming. It's not just a nice little spark. It's not just kind of a ray coming in. It's a wave, far more breadth, width of energy coming to the earth plane. This is, I started going into a talk about it, so I'll pause in a second, but this is a wave that is the result of prayers, not only from people today, prayers from spiritual ancestors, light workers throughout eternity, asking. You might think they were praying only for their time. Wise individuals pray for all time and for all beings. It sounds like, wounded people, oh, God, help me right now. We're limited. Me now. Spiritual people pray for all, always. And so this wave has been building based on prayers and prayers and prayers throughout eternity, all these beings throughout eternity. And that is accumulated as, quantity of wave that's now whoosh, just whoosh coming into the earth plane. It started entering around 1960. And it's been going on and will continue and sort of reach its critical mass within this lifetime, the one we're living in. But certainly around the year 2000, it was when it was sort of its presence was really showing, hence 9/11 and the 2012 convergence and so on. So but it has not gone away. It's not like it hit and it's gone. This is still peaking, and it will keep peaking for the next 10, 20 years. So there's a lot coming to the world, and I'll talk about that another time. So many blessings to you all, and thanks for your time. I hope this did justice to what some of you were asking about. And again, there's got to be people that are online. I don't know, Facebook, there might be Facebook pages related to this topic, meaning the convergence of a couple of planets, this conjunction. There might be people on YouTube or in some of my groups. I know some brilliant people who have talked about it in our own groups. One of the groups is a free program we do almost every day of the week, Edenshire Live on Zoom. And I know some of you very capable people, astrologers, have talked about it there. So you're welcome to continue to address it, all right, as teachers and hosts in our program. So God bless all of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to share. I pray that we'll see you soon in one of our programs or another. And I pray that this information might help you to make some really good decisions in your life. So you be well. God bless. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.